Sometimes, our greatest achievements transpire in our bleakest moments of self-doubt. As a bow hunter, I have the inherent knowledge that the game I chase has the advantage of instinct. Nevertheless, each year I set out on a quest. Man versus beast, human knowledge versus animal instinct. Personally, this particular trip was an exercise in futility. 5 days of relentless pursuit, hiking, glassing, close calls, and watching others experience the euphoria of success. On the second to last day of the hunt, Ben and I went back to the same canyon where he killed a buck, and we had already seen nearly 20 bucks since opening morning. However, we visited the small canyon one too many times. We shared our morning with only the occasional inquisitive chipmunk, curiously staring at the invaders of its domain. I felt disappointed and exhausted.
So we're recharging our batteries, rebooting our system. We came to our spot this morning, and it was a ghost town. So in this spot, literally this week, we've seen, what, a dozen bucks?
Yeah.
8 shooters, maybe 13 bucks, something like that. And we just spaced out the first and second hunt. Second hunt was yesterday. Came back today, and nothing. So a little disappointing, but we're gonna reboot, recharge, get fired up for the next round.
Gotta get another one on the ground before we leave, so we've got another 2 days to make it happen. And it's gonna happen.
Yep.
Gonna make it happen. We just gotta pick ourselves up by our bootstraps.
We decided to pack up camp and head to a lower elevation where we had placed a trail camera earlier that summer and had several videos of bucks and one clip of a nice black bear. That afternoon we packed away camp, loaded the Jeep, and headed down the hill to our new spot. One last opportunity to fill my tag for the season. The next morning we woke up early and got to our spot before daylight. We were stationed on top of a ridgeline, and in front of us was a vast and diverse landscape of steep draws, old burns, and thick patches of hardwoods mixed with pines and undergrowth. Deer tracks were everywhere, and the disappointing feeling from the day before was washed away by renewed energy for the hunt. After 30 minutes of glassing, we spotted a doe and a buck bedded on a hillside, but the distance was well over 1,000 yards, and we couldn't tell if the buck was legal. We decided to make our way along the ridge to another area much closer and with a better vantage point. Only 20 minutes after we had arrived at our new glassing spot, Ben looked down the hill and spotted a beautiful black bear. He was at 200 yards and moving away from us. Within a few seconds, he topped the next draw over from where we were and disappeared. Ben grabbed the camera, I picked up my bow, and we set out after him. We followed the ridgeline to a point where we could see the next draw where the bear had disappeared, and our hearts sank. The draw was choked with chest-high brush starting from 30 yards below the top of the ridge where we were and continuing to the bottom, some 500 yards down. There was no way we would be able to see him. Then I had an idea. Black bears in California feast on fawns. According to the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, black bears are the #1 killer of young deer in the state. With this fact in mind, I pulled out my varmint call and started to softly imitate the sound of a fawn in distress. After only 1 or 2 minutes of calling, I heard a rustling in the brush, and there he was. The big boar stepped out of the brush and stopped, staring in my direction. I ranged him at 37 yards, and the stare down was on. He was facing me, and I had no clear shot. Ben was standing to my left, but his view was obscured by a small tree. After what seemed like an eternity, the bear lost interest in me and turned to walk over the ridge in front of us. I knew his path would give me a broadside shot at about 30 yards, so I drew my bow. When the bear topped the ridge in front of us, Ben softly called out. The bear paused, giving me the opportunity I needed, and I let my arrow fly. We both heard the solid thud of the arrow hitting the bear. He gave a loud grunt and turned around and ran down the hill the way he had come.
So he came over the hill. We lost him in the gully down here. We just slow walked the ridge. And he was coming up right this side. Right through the trees right there. I ranged him at 37 yards. Then he popped up a little further. Put my 30 pin on his shoulder and jammed him.
We shot him right there between those trees. Gave him a little meh, stopped him.
This is so amazing. This trip just became epic, dude.
Dude, he's starting to gush blood right here.
Oh yeah. Wow. So our first bit of blood is from where he spun around. Got blood all right here on the ground. Already got ants on it. And then you can see where he plowed up the ground right here. Got blood here. Blood splattered all over this litter someone left. It looks like he went right down through those bushes. Like there's a track. There's a track.
Nothing really sketchy about this, tracking a bear with an arrow in him through this stuff. Blood all over the place. That's lung blood.
Right here.
Yep. He's close by.
Let's see. He's right here in this thicket, I guarantee you.
Yeah. Is that him down there?
He is.
Is he dead? See him.
Oh
boy, we've got a work cut out for us.
Oh man. Well, there's the top of the hill right there. That's not too bad. We'll just bust straight up the hill. This was amazing. Pose, we'll take a screenshot. Well, here we are.
Exit wound is right here. Entry wound is in front of the left arm, so shot
the
him
heart.
Right. He was kind of quartering too and got all the good stuff, so.
Yeah, so we're gonna quarter him out, skin him out, and got a pretty steep hill to hike up, but it's not too long, so we'll survive. This by far is the most weight I've ever had on my back in my life. Probably, I don't know, 150 pounds. I've got a bear hide, a head, a couple quarters, and about 150 yards of hill to climb. So, here we go.
Taking the bear out. Clayton's not stopping until he gets to the top.
That's right. Oh.
Good times. Sometimes our greatest achievements transpire in our bleakest moments of self-doubt.